Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about MOTHEATER by Linda H. Codega. MOTHEATER is a debut Appalachian dark fantasy novel set in the woods and mountains of Western Virginia. It's the story of a woman, Benny, who is investigating the death of her friend in a mining accident, and this sort of string of mining accidents, miners disappearing ones and twos at a time, and investigating for negligence. In the midst of this investigation, she pulls out from a river a woman who was lost in time, a witch, the titular MOTHEATER. And from there, we go into a deeper exploration of the relationship between this region and coal production industry, what it means to support both mountain and town, and some really well-researched and deeply cool magic. Be aware, if you are a snake-averse person, this is maybe a book to be wary about. We are snaky. We got Pentecostals, these Pentecostals, who are handling snakes, and we got snake magic, we got snake tattoos, we got adders of coal, smoke, and fire. It's, it's good stuff. And it's very well researched and very well understood. We're quoting scripture, we're quoting Psalms, very much in this tradition of North American folk magic. And we are examining the relationship between a witch and her community. We've had some of these witchy books like Red Rabbit by Alex Gresham, and some of these, Appalachian books like Summer Suns or The Woods All Black by Lee Mandello, the really wonderful Wake the Bones by Elizabeth Kilcoyne, coal books like Alex E. Harrow's Starling House. And yet, in the midst of all these books that we've talked about here on Bar Cart Bookshelf, and the many more besides, this is a really vibrant tradition of speculative fiction, and one that's really on the come up and taking strains from different strands. MOTHEATER remains wholly itself. It's a book that put me back in the times when I've driven through that part of the world. I'm here in Kentucky, but it's not mountain Kentucky, it's not coal Kentucky. That's, a ways distance to me here in, more horse and bourbon Kentucky. But familiar at the same time. Really thoughtful, really fun, adventurous and magical and tied into the community. It's playing with some fun ideas of antagonism and opposition in the characters. We get to spend some time in the past, in MOTHEATER's past as she was, how she came to be this woman outside of time, and think about the ways in which really while we mediate the conflict through our characters and everything is rooted in character, the forces that are at play are nature and industry, and what builds progress and at what cost. All these sorts of wonderful, chewy ideas, which is really what I, come to a book for. Like, give me ideas, give me theme, and and things happen, and lots of things happen, and I love it when things happen, but I want ideas. I want to think about ideas, and MOTHEATER gave me ideas, and MOTHEATER let me sit and chew on some ideas. And that's really, one of the greatest gifts that a book can offer. And so, of course, we had to have a drink. Our drink today is Kiron, named for the town and the mountain that looms overhead, Mount Kyre. And we're going to start with 1.5 ounces of an overproof gin. And I know there's a lot of shine, there's a lot of whiskey in the book, but for me, this witchiness really wanted something a little more herbal. And the gin that I am using is a gin made in Western Virginia, down here at the tail of Virginia, there in the mountains. It's an American-style gin, a marine-strength gin, which is an even higher intensity than, your standard overproof gins, like a Navy strength. Because, why not go a little bit harder? It's malty, it's grain-based, so it is going to be sort of similar to like a white whiskey, but bringing a lot more of those herbal components in, and an American-style gin, so really nicely herbal. Lovely. And we're going to get 1.5 ounces of that. This is high-intensity stuff. This is gonna be a hot drink. Intense. Lovely. We've got our gin. We're gonna get 3/4 ounce of raspberry liqueur. Bring a bit of sweetness. There we go. And a bit of that berry red brightness. Lovely. See a lot of our magic mediated through blood and blister and sacrifice and bargain. There's good proper witch in there. And then we'll get 1/2 ounce of yellow chartreuse, this wonderful golden color, bringing more herbal flavors to our Kiron. Rich, dark, intense, and the yellow chartreuse, it's going to be a little bit of a warmer taste compared to the sort of cooler quality of the green chartreuse. A little bit richer, a little bit darker. And then finally, for a touch of sweetness, and you can see I made my batch right here in the jar, 1/4 ounce of molasses syrup. Just adding a touch of sweetness there, and, it's a book about coal. We gotta have something that rich and dark in there too. So, 1/4 ounce of molasses syrup. You'll make that the same way you make a honey syrup. So, 2 parts molasses, 1 part water, because it's already viscous. What we're really doing here is just making it so that it's easier to pour, easier to mix, as opposed to our simple syrups where we've got our solid sugars and we're doing equal parts sugar and water. Get our ice down into our mixing glass and give it a stir. As always, when we don't have citrus, when we don't have dairy, when we've got all of our ingredients as these sorts of base spirits and herbal liqueurs, we're going to stir that, keep it nice and supple. You got to do magic in the way that's meant to be. Oh, and you can smell the richness, the sort of fire of the gin in here. Reminds me of some of the other happy times I've enjoyed this sort of style of gin. This really rich, herbal-forward, malty, grainy gin. Lovely. And we'll strain that into a stemmed glass. Perfect. Rich, dark, ready. And there you have it. This is the Kiron inspired by MOTHEATER. MOTHEATER is available now. A huge thank you to the publisher, Erewhon Books, for sending me an advanced copy so we could talk about the book on its release day. I'm really looking forward to the finished copy that I pre-ordered arriving so that I can pass my ARC along to a friend. I've got a link to snag the book in the description down below. Got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Got a link to find my book, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 Cocktails and Mocktails inspired by the wonderful world of video games, including some games set in Cave Country, in Coal Country too. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. We've got some really exciting books that we'll be talking about in the weeks and months to come. And until next time, cheers.